We are on one of Viking's newest ocean cruise ships, the Viking Vela, on an 8-day Iberian Explorer cruise starting in Barcelona. Our stops along the Spanish coast include Cartagena and Malaga, both tourist hotspots on the Costa del Sol. As we arrive in the port of Cartagena, we see evidence that much of the historical significance of this town stems from its coveted defensive port, one of the most important in the Western Mediterranean. Cartagena has been the capital of the Spanish Navy Maritime Department of the Mediterranean since the arrival of the Spanish Bourbons in the 18th century. And more than 40% of the tourism that comes to Cartagena comes right through this port.
Good afternoon, passengers of the Viking Vela, and welcome to the beautiful city of Cartagena. You might have noticed when you were coming into the port that there are several castles. The city of Cartagena was fortified.
Cartagena has been inhabited for more than 2 millennia, and you can see, walking through the streets, all kinds of different influences of architecture and then the monuments across the city.
Right in front, this monument dedicated to the fallen soldiers during the Cuban-Hispano-American War.
One of the most pleasant surprises is its modernistic architecture from the times of the gold rush in the 19th century. And it was the mining of those precious metals in the countryside of this coastal city that caught the interest of the Roman Empire. And they've done an amazing job showcasing their Roman history. Founded in 220 BC, the city boomed during the Roman period. In the first building, beautiful displays of all the relics that were found during the excavation. Then you walk into the Roman Theater, one of the largest in Spain with a capacity of 7,000 people.
This Roman theater is amazing. You know, it dates back over 2,000 years ago, but it was only discovered within the last 50 years.
The discovery and excavation of Cartagena's Roman theater in recent years has been one of the most surprising discoveries in the city's architecture. We are walking in the footsteps of ancient history, and you can imagine the theatrical performances like plays, pantomime, and choral events that all took place here. It's estimated that there are about 230 Roman amphitheater ruins across what was the Roman Empire, and this one is pretty impressive. In 1988, the first remains of the theater were discovered, and the restorations were completed in 2003. In 2008, the museum was opened. From there, we board the buses and head to the countryside and discover why the Romans conquered this part of the world in the first place. Within minutes, we're deep in the mountain range that was intensely exploited for its silver and lead mines and other metallic minerals in ancient times. This mountain range extends east and west along 26 kilometers of coastline from the city of Cartagena to Cape Palo. There's been a big effort over the past decades to restore the natural beauty of this area, and now the biggest export is bluefin tuna.
And the first buyer, as you can imagine, is the country of Japan.
The lighthouse of Cabo de Palos is located in a peninsula of the municipality of Cartagena. First lit in January of 1865, this lighthouse features a large pedestal and can be seen 24 miles away. This is one of the smallest beaches in the area, but it's definitely a hot spot for snorkeling and scuba because of all the abundant sea life and natural unspoiled beauty. With its crystal clear waters, arid cliffs, and the old lighthouse, Calafria is certainly the most photogenic beach in Cabo de Palos. Leaving Cartagena this evening, we begin a 400-kilometer quest heading west up the coast to the historic port of Malaga. The morning sun hits the harbor like a glistening jewel, and our Viking host tells us what we can expect today.
But I am going to tell you about the city, what you can do. Everything is open, even on Sunday, because it's 3 weeks on King Day. A tradition in Spain, I will explain to you what we do. We start with a panoramic tour, okay? Then with the bus. Then we are going to the top of the city, to Gibralfaro. The hill you have on the right side, you're going to see in a moment in front of you.
And what a way to start, traversing the narrow roads up the mountainside for the best views of the city. there's our ship in the distance in the port of Malaga. And directly below us, one of the few active bullfighting rings in Spain. And off to the right, you see the historic district and the famous Malaga Cathedral. We'll get a closer look at that a little later in the day. As we stroll the streets of the historic district, it's a little slow on a Sunday morning, but they're preparing for one of the biggest celebrations of the year. More about that in a moment, but Malaga is known for Picasso. And here, outside his home, you can have a selfie with him, or at least a statue of him. And here is his museum, and it's a very popular spot. And even in January, it's not hard to forget that you are in the Mediterranean with this beautiful orange tree and the vegetation around Malaga. This is a statue of Ben Gabriel. He is a great Hebrew poet and philosopher who was born here in Malaga. And the Moorish influence in their architecture is very apparent.
Wow, look at this. Oh.
And just in the center of town, Roman ruins. The Roman theater of Malaga, which dates back to the 1st century, was rediscovered in 1951.
Just in front of you, you have a Roman theater that is 2,000 years old.
And something you wouldn't normally see in the ruins of a Roman theater, Christmas decorations. Today is the Three Kings celebration. The town is beautifully decorated with Christmas decorations, and I can't imagine how beautiful this is at night. And our host shows us where we can buy a Three Kings cake. And peeking out from the buildings of the old town, the one-armed lady, Malaga Cathedral. The most distinctive part of this church is a 276-foot tower, one of the highest in Spain. Built in 1782, it's called the One-Armed Lady because the matching second tower was never built. And what's really interesting is that the monies that were allocated to build that second tower were sent to the colonies in America to help the revolution. Church bells signal that it's time for Mass. The cathedral is closed to visitors today, but our Viking host talks to some security guards to give us permission to attend Mass as worshipers. No cameras were allowed during the worship service, but it was a memory that we will never forget. As the sun sets after a magical day in the port of Malaga, we begin our journey through the Straits of Gibraltar. And unfortunately, bad storms will cancel our trip in Vigo, so across the English Channel we go to our next stop, Portsmouth, England. And the medieval town of Winchester, home to that famous cathedral. That adventure is next. Until then, happy exploring.